So Virginia has some pretty big elections going on this year. The entire legislature of the state is up for grabs, both the General Assembly and the state Senate, and they provide a unique pickup opportunity for Republicans to gain a trifecta in the state for the first time in almost a decade. So we're going to take a look at Republicans' chances in both the House of Delegates as well as the state Senate, what Youngkin's potential role is in all of this, and how Republicans could use their majority to build a lasting coalition in the state of Virginia and slowly take back a state that has slipped away from them over the past 2 decades or so. So we're going to take a look at all of that in just a second. But first, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing down below and liking this video if you enjoy. So we'll start off with Governor Youngkin, whose approval is pretty high in the state of Virginia. Again, this is a state that voted for Joe Biden by 10 percentage points. And the conservative Republican governor has a 57% approval rating in the state and just a 35% disapproval rating. So that's a net favorability or net approval of 22 points. That's really impressive for, again, as I mentioned, a conservative Republican governor. And I think a theme of the midterm elections for Republicans in areas where they did well was competent leadership. And I think Youngkin has clearly demonstrated that. The people of Virginia think that he's demonstrated that. And the real question is, will Youngkin be able to use his coattails, his popularity to bring Virginia Republicans over the finish line? So we're going to start off with the House of Delegates, and then we'll take a look at the state Senate. Now, right off the bat, before we do that, we need to look back at Youngkin's victory and how that was ultimately accomplished. Youngkin won back in 2021 because he was able to win back the upper middle class suburban vote that has been slipping away from the GOP. In Virginia for over the past 2 decades. If we look at the shift from 2020 to 2021, every single county and city in Virginia shifted to the right. Even in Nova, this is an area of the state that has been trending drastically left federally over the past, again, 2 decades. Places like Fairfax County, trending 11 points more Republican. Loudoun County, 14 points more Republican. Prince William, 12. But Nova is not the entire state of Virginia. The Nova trends alone would not have been enough to flip the state. But also Hampton Roads, the Richmond suburbs, and yes, even Southwest Virginia, I think, plays a big role. You have flips in Montgomery County, Radford, Youngkin doing significantly better in Roanoke than Donald Trump. The Richmond area, Henrico, Chesterfield County, even Richmond itself, Youngkin had a pretty decent shift from 2020, a 10-point shift. So all across the state, Youngkin has been able to win back a lot of ground for the GOP. And I think the areas he did it most effectively were the exurbs. It wasn't the rural areas. It wasn't even the suburban areas. It was the exurban counties. Now, you have the suburban counties like Chesterfield, 11 points. Henrico, 11 points. But if you look at places like Stafford County, these are the areas where I think Republicans have actually lost the most ground. And, these are the areas that swung the most back to Youngkin. Stafford County, 14 points swing in favor of the GOP. Spotsylvania County, 14 points in favor of the GOP. So these exurban counties, areas just outside the suburbs, again, Loudoun County, which, you could argue is sort of suburban now, but it's still sort of an exurban county, 14 points in favor of Youngkin. These are the areas where Republicans started to lose ground, and that's what really ultimately lost them power in Virginia. It wasn't even the Beltway suburbs in Nova. It was these exurban, parts of Chesterfield, parts of Loudoun County, Stafford, Spotsylvania, these areas where Republicans really lost their grip on power in Virginia. So we'll take a look at the House of Delegates now. Again, as I mentioned, Republicans hold the majority here. If we take a look at this map, and I think this is the new map, and we're going to take a look at the new map in just a second because it has the results from the 2021 governor's race and how all of these districts sort of voted. So it gives us sort of an idea of what we can expect going into this. And hopefully some of the election mapping sites will actually start having maps of Virginia's new state house and Senate results. Maybe 270 has it already, but I haven't checked. But this is a map of all the retirements. So you've got the incumbents, obviously, in the lighter shades of red and blue, and then you've got the retirements in the darker shades of red and blue. And there's a lot of retirements on the Republican side in some of these suburban districts. You've got one here in southern Prince William County, looks like northern Stafford. You've got one in Loudoun County, Fauquier County. These are going to be competitive seats, I can tell you already. And if we take a look at the map here, for the House of Delegates. You know, a lot of these districts now, because of redistricting, are drastically different. You know, if we take a look at this Republican district, I think this is a safe blue district in the new map. This is a district that voted for Terry McAuliffe by a 68-30 margin. So the map has changed pretty dramatically. And one of the reasons for that was the old maps were technically sort of gerrymandered to favor the Republicans. The gerrymander didn't last just because the suburbs trended so far away from the Republicans in the Trump era. But those old maps don't really reflect the new maps so well. So you've got competitive districts now in different areas. You've got District 21, which is a Youngkin +3 district. I think in this map, District 21 has a retiring Democrat. So that's probably an area where Republicans might be able to see a pickup opportunity. You've got a retiring Republican in this district, but this is actually a fairly safe Republican district. But just, you know, sort of looking at this map overall, a lot of the most competitive districts for the House of Delegates isn't even in Nova. It's in Southern Virginia. It's in the Richmond area. It's in the Virginia Beach area. It's in Hampton Roads. You know, that's actually the most competitive part of the state now. And if we look back to Youngkin's victory again, the biggest shifts in favor of Youngkin occurred in Hampton Roads. 13 points in Virginia Beach, Suffolk 13 points, Chesapeake 12 points. You've had big shifts in this area. Now, Youngkin's from this area. He was born there, so that's probably part of it. But I think Republicans, they have more room to grow in the Richmond and Hampton Roads area than they do in Nova. And again, Nova's only about a third of the state. It's just that it votes so Democratic now that Republicans have trouble making up ground in other areas, mainly because they've lost ground in the Richmond area, in the Hampton Roads area. I mean, Virginia Beach went to Joe Biden by I think like 5 points or something back in 2020. Chesapeake rather, very similar margin. You know, James City County went to Joe Biden, Chesterfield went to Joe Biden, and these are all areas where Youngkin won, in some cases pretty handily. Won Virginia Beach by 8, Chesapeake by 6 rather. And Chesterfield was a lot closer. It's a bit more inelastic. But overall, I think Hampton Roads is where Republicans have the most room to grow. Obviously, as we look at the House of Delegates map, and the state Senate map might be a little different, but most of the competitive seats are here in the Hampton Roads area. They're not in Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia only has 2 competitive districts in it. The rest are in the Richmond and Hampton Roads area. So this is going to be the key for Republicans to retain the House of Delegates majority. Now, out of these competitive districts, all of them essentially are Youngkin districts. Youngkin won all of these districts, 57, 82, and, you know, if we take a look at the retiring incumbents or the incumbents map, a lot of these districts, I believe, are held by Republicans. You know, this district here is a Republican-held district down, and the map's a little bit different because this map's certainly more detailed, so this map is a bit different. But District 82 is a narrow Youngkin district. That's a Republican-held district. 57 is a narrow Youngkin district. District 58 is a lean McAuliffe district, and I think that district has a retiring Democrat. Again, another pickup opportunity for Republicans. One of them's got a retiring Republican. You got a lot of retirements, really, just because people are moved all around their district, but Republicans certainly could retain the House of Delegates. I think their biggest obstacle is obviously the fallout from the Dobbs decision, abortion, which I know for a fact Democrats are going to campaign on almost exclusively in Virginia. That seems to be the Democratic playbook. And it's been effective. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been very effective, especially when Republicans sort of overreach in this area and sort of put their foot in their mouth and go too far on the issue for most voters. So that's really just a brief overview of the House of Delegates. Again, if we look at the rest of the map so far, and it's a little bit laggy, but you know, all of Western Virginia is essentially not really competitive. Hampton Roads and the Richmond area, that's where all these competitive districts are. Obviously, the Nova districts are important. You've got District 21, that's a narrow Youngkin district. You've got District 65, a narrow Youngkin district. These are areas that Republicans need to hold if they want to win in November. Of course, this Nova district here is a narrow Youngkin district. It actually has retiring Democrats, so it's a pickup opportunity. And of course, this district here, Republican incumbent, that's probably going to be a Dem pickup. So there's going to be a little bit of a shuffling around, a little bit of a sorting out with these new maps. But as we get more information on these races, the candidates will probably be able to make a more accurate projection in the future of how this is actually going to go. But for now, I'm just giving you guys a pretty preliminary overview. I mean, it's only April of 2023. We haven't even had the primaries yet, so we don't really know who the nominees are for either party. But as it looks at face value, this is certainly holdable for Republicans. But again, a lot of these toss-up districts are so narrow in the Youngkin column that they could easily flip to Democrats. Very easily, in fact. So, Republicans could end up losing a decent amount of seats. They could end up holding seats and holding the chamber, or they could end up picking up a couple of seats. I mean, in the House of Delegates, there's not really a lot of room to grow. If we take a look at the partisan lean of these districts, so the new maps are actually more Democratic leaning, and that's mainly because the old maps were gerrymandered in favor of the Republicans. So, if you max out Republican support, and you give them obviously all the safe districts, all the lean districts, all of the toss-up districts, Republicans would be at 55, Democrats would be at 45. Again, there's 100 seats in the House of Delegates. So, in order for Republicans to get a very sizable majority, they would need to flip some of these leaning Democrat districts. And a lot of these leaning Democratic districts are pretty comfortable in the McAuliffe column. So it's very unlikely that any of these districts are going to flip. This map is a lot less malleable than the old map just because it is more compact. It's a bit more fair. So Republicans really don't have a lot of room to grow their majority. Again, there's a couple of pickup opportunities, but really for the Republicans, it's going to be holding on to the districts they already have, possibly putting a couple of other districts on the board. Now, if we flip over to the state Senate, it's a bit of a different ball game because the state Senate is currently controlled by the Democrats. And it's a little bit different because these seats are not as competitive. There's less toss-up seats, I believe, in the state Senate. Obviously, since it's a smaller chamber. But if we take a look at the partisan lean now, there's only 3 seats that are really up for grabs in the state Senate. You've got 5 seats that lean Republican, 13 safe. You've got 12 safe Democrats, 7, we won't even say lean, we'll say likely Democrat. And of course, you compare it to the previous maps. The state Senate maps in both instances are pretty fair, I would say. In fact, I think Democrats routinely won the majority in the state Senate, but not the House of Delegates, mainly because I guess it was hard to gerrymander the state Senate. But in the state Senate, the most competitive districts are not in Hampton Roads. They're actually in Nova. You've got a district here in the Loudoun County exurbs and a little bit of Fauquier County. This is a very, very narrow Youngkin district, so it's essentially a toss-up. And then you've got District 30, which is a lean McAuliffe district. So right off the bat, that's going to be a little bit tricky for Republicans to accomplish. You've got a Democratic incumbent in both of these seats. So right off the bat, it's going to be pretty hard, I think, for them to try and flip these seats. They don't have a retirement map. I don't know if that information just isn't available or if none of the state senators are retiring. I would find that a little bit hard to believe. I think the House of Delegates is definitely having more of a shakeup, but I digress. This is a different ball game, because Nova is much more friendly, obviously, to Democrats. I think the average swing district is more leaning a McAuliffe district. If you look at the Hampton Roads district, this is a Youngkin +3 district, and I think currently it may be occupied by a Democrat. I can't really tell what district that is, but that might be a Democratic held district. Either way, there really isn't a lot of room to grow. Again, in order for Republicans to get the state Senate, they need to pick up 3 seats. And right off the bat, that's going to be pretty tricky to accomplish, especially given the fact that there's so few seats that are actually on the table. And thankfully for the Republicans, they're not really defending a whole lot of seats. Again, these 2 Nova seats are incumbent seats for the GOP. I think this seat here, again, this is the Youngkin +3 district or whatnot. I think this is currently held by Democrats, so that does kind of give them a pickup opportunity. Again, you've got York County, parts of Newport News. I don't think James City County is in there. So, you've got a red part of the district, you've got a bluer part of the district. It essentially makes the district fairly even. So, of course, obviously for Republicans to win back the state Senate, they've got to win all 3 of these districts because Jen Kiggins, when she won the 2nd congressional district back in November of last year, her state Senate seat in Virginia Beach, which I think was this one, Virginia 22nd, which is actually a McAuliffe district. Again, she won under the old lines. These are the new lines, so it's a little bit different than her district. But you had a special election for her seat in which a Democrat picked it up. So hence why Democrats originally had a 21-19 majority. Now they have a 22-18. So again, they need 3 seats to win back the majority. So ultimately, I still think both chambers are a toss-up. I think the Republicans have a better chance at holding the House of Delegates than they do the Senate, but the House of Delegates definitely has a higher turnover, in my opinion, than the state Senate. Again, the state Senate, you've got less districts to work with, and there's really not a whole lot of competitive districts for the GOP to make up ground. And the real question in all of this is how Youngkin actually plays into these races, because if we go back to 2022, Republicans only picked up one of the potential 3 pickups they had in the House seats in Virginia, the 11 House seats in Virginia, obviously Virginia 10. That was the Biden plus 18 district. That was always going to be a very uphill battle. Hung Cow, the Republican, did very well. I think he only lost by around 7 points in a Biden plus 18 or 19 district, so pretty impressive showing. Obviously, you had Spamberger win by, I think it was 7 points, could have been 5. It was a leaner likely margin for Spamberger. She ended up doing a lot better than I anticipated. And then, of course, you had Kiggins win by about 4 points. So, you know, Youngkin was stumping for all of these candidates. He stumped for Hung Cow, he stumped for Kiggins, he stumped for Spamberger, and ultimately, I don't think his impact was very big. And, you know, I could be wrong about this. Again, this is going to be a very more localized election than we saw in the House elections. That was very much nationalized. I think the Democrats are going to try to make this about abortion. Republicans are going to have to come up with messaging to sort of counter those attacks, because, again, abortion is a super potent issue, especially in the suburbs, and Virginia is an incredibly suburban state. And all of these districts that are essentially up for grabs are either suburban or exurban districts. So that's going to be a tricky balancing act for the GOP and Youngkin, because, again, Youngkin sort of putting his clout and credibility on the line to try and get these Republicans elected. In 2022, it really didn't work. Republicans really only got Kiggins out of those 3 competitive districts. But we'll see what happens, of course, with the Virginia legislature. We'll talk more about this, obviously, as it gets closer, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any more videos I put out. As always, again, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.